Francesca Evans from LymeOnline bringing you this week's top stories from the Lyme Regis area. The building has stood empty for 30 years and now the coronavirus pandemic has put plans to redevelop the former Three Cups Hotel in Lyme Regis on hold once again. Bridport-based Palmer's Brewery, which owns the Broad Street site, had planned to redevelop the dilapidated hotel into shops and apartments with a restaurant and letting rooms behind. In March 2020, just before the pandemic broke out in the UK, Managing Director John Palmer said the company was excited about the plans and keen to get started quickly. But the £5 million development has now been put on hold, with Palmer's pubs having been hit hard by the pandemic. In his latest statement, Mr Palmer said significant capital projects, such as the Three Cups, had to be put on hold whilst the brewery concentrated on getting its core business re-established. Lyme's record-breaking music event, Guitars on the Beach, has been called off for a second year due to the difficulties of staging the event in line with coronavirus restrictions. The one-day music festival, which has seen thousands of guitarists gather on the beach in previous years, was set to take place on Saturday, June 19th, just 2 days before the government's target date to lift COVID restrictions. But organisers have now called off the event and said they will instead be putting all their efforts into staging it next year. They had hoped to stage the event on the flat roof area above Marine Parade instead of on the beach, so those attending could be logged via track and trace, but the Town Council did not support this proposal. Last year's Guitars on the Beach, initially billed as the last ever, was also called off due to the pandemic. The Town Council said it had to apply greater scrutiny to major events held on its land this year due to the ongoing restrictions. Local beaches and businesses have been listed among the most dog-friendly in Dorset. Holiday provider K9 Cottages compared TripAdvisor reviews to come up with a definitive list of dog-friendly destinations across the county. The Black Dog Tea Room in Uplyme, Charmouth Beach and the Galley Cafe and Monmouth Beach in Lyme Regis were all listed among the most dog-friendly places to visit. The news came as a surprise to some, as dog restrictions on beaches in Lyme Regis have become one of the most hotly debated local topics in recent years. The restrictions were tightened this year, meaning dogs can no longer roam off-lead on the town's main sand and shingle beach in the winter months. Some have argued that Monmouth Beach, where there are no dog restrictions, is not a suitable alternative due to accessibility issues. Lyme Regis Development Trust is launching a new scheme to help eradicate food poverty and the stigma attached to the issue. The Trust will be launching its Seaside store on June 8th to help those who are struggling to make ends meet. Unlike a traditional food bank, those using the service will not require a referral, but will instead register as members, paying £3.50 for 10 items of food, plus free fruit, vegetables and bread. The store will aim to provide good quality, nutritious food to individuals and families who have limited disposable income. Much of the stock will come from the environmental charity FareShare and supermarkets that offer surplus in-date food. Local food outlets, residents, gardeners and allotment holders will also be able to donate store cupboard essentials and fresh produce. A maquette of the proposed Mary Anning statue to be erected in Lyme Regis will go on display at the Marine Theatre this weekend. The maquette, created by artist Denise Dutton, depicts Mary in her full working clothes, carrying her fossil hunting tools and accompanied by her dog Trey. It will be on display at the theatre this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m, where Denise and members of the Mary Anning Rocks Committee, which have raised £100,000 for the project, will be on hand to answer questions. Complimentary coffee and donuts will be available for all DT7 residents, and those attending should wear a face mask. In local sport, a monsoon-type rainstorm prevented Lyme Regis footballers from winning their league last Saturday. Lyme Regis first team had to get a point at home to Chard Town Reserves to win the Devon and Exeter Premier East Division, and they were coasting it 3-0 before a deluge of rain resulted in the referee abandoning the game at half-time. Understandably, the Lyme players wanted to continue, especially as the sun came out again after the storm subsided. But the referee said after the game that surface water all over the pitch rendered it unplayable and dangerous. Lyme are still waiting for confirmation from the league about whether the game has to be replayed. If the score stands, Lyme will meet Lapford, winners of the Premier West Division, in a playoff at Topsham on June 5th. The 3 goals scored before the game was washed out came from Brad Rowe, Fred Parsons and Tom Baston. In a double-header, Lyme reserves were due to play Teignmouth after the first team game, but a message was sent out to the South Devon side to say it had also been called off. The rain also washed out the Devon Cricket League programme for the second week running. Tomorrow, Lyme and Lyme Regis will be at home to Barnstaple with a 1 p.m. start at the King George V playing field, if the ground is dry. Thanks for watching LymeOnline's video news bulletins. Don't forget you can catch up with all the latest news throughout the week on the LymeOnline website, and you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Have a great weekend.